بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. This is Riad Ouarzazi welcoming you all to Homemade Happiness. This is episode number 10. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm just gonna give a minute or two for more people to join, inshallah. Aywa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We're both live on Facebook and on Instagram, and this is about the 10th episode of Homemade Happiness. It's just starting a little slow, so I just want to give some time, just a minute or two for more people to join, inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أهلا وسهلا مرحبا بكم مرحبا أهلا وسهلا. We took a break for about a week and we're back into our online regular series, Homemade Happiness. This series which we started in Ramadan and we have not completed it yet. This also started right after we completed the end of time. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So just to give you a quick review of especially those who just joined, maybe they're new to this program. So alhamdulillah, we've been having two online programs, one called Tafsir Bites. It's a short tafsir program. It's very short. I mean, short as 15-20 minutes or so. It's not deep tafsir. And then the second program is called Homemade Happiness, right? This is the second program that we've been having since Ramadan, alhamdulillah. In this Homemade Happiness, we again, quick preview. This Homemade Happiness, it's a family series. It's a family series, alhamdulillah. Involves every member of the family on how to make our homes like Jannah in our homes, how to make our homes like the homes of the Prophet, how the home of the Sahaba, how to bring back serenity, how to bring back happiness and joy, how to bring back peace in our homes. And those, alhamdulillah, they're happy at homes, how to maybe inshallah ta'ala have more happiness into your homes, because here we're sharing with you a lot of very golden advice on how to energize and that relationship with your children, with your spouses, with your parents, with your in-laws. Everybody will get a piece through the series, inshallah ta'ala. Whether you're a mom, you're a dad, whether you're a sibling like a sister, brother, whether you're a husband, wife, grandfather, grandmother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, whether you are a stepfather or a stepmother, everybody will have some thing to take out from this series, inshallah ta'ala. Everybody, as I mentioned, that whether you're father, mother, stepfather, stepmother, father-in-law, in-law, son, brother, husband, wife, everybody, inshallah ta'ala, will have to take, and will take some golden, advice and tools and a lot of proactive, alhamdulillah, very, very proactive advice on how to that you could use in your life, inshallah ta'ala, at some point. So my brothers and sisters, again, welcome back. Riad Ouarzazi welcoming you back to Homemade Happiness. This is episode number 10. This is session number 10, and today, inshallah ta'ala, the title of this episode is No to Hostility. No to hostility, because if remember, let me give you just a quick preview, or review of what we talked about, in the previous session, on how to maybe educate and discipline your children, how to raise your children. We talked about some current methods that are used at home, such as maybe blame, such as provocative advice, such as just threats. I gave examples of all those, lectures, warnings. These are some methods that some parents are using, today with their children. How to, sometimes they ridicule them to give them advice. Sometimes they compare them. A lot of parents do this. Comparing, their children with others, maybe even compare them to their own siblings, or compare them to their cousins, or compare them to their friends or their neighbors. But then I gave some counter, more productive advice on how to or methods on how to raise, or maybe how to not how to raise your kids, such as the if you remember the principle of appreciation and taqdeer and ihtiram, of the principle of appreciation and respect. This is, if you remember, this was foundation number 9, because throughout the series all I'll be doing is suggesting or providing you with some sort of principles and foundations that you could use in your homes, inshallah ta'ala. These are foundations. We could all adopt these foundations, inshallah ta'ala, all of us. I will not be able to solve every case or every problem at home, in different homes, because they're different. It's case by case scenario. Maybe something that would work with you in your home may not work with somebody else, right? People have their own issues and whatnot. But if we were to adopt these foundations, this is what we call them, foundations, usus, qiyam in Arabic, right? So you could use them. It's like a joker, you could use it. Anybody could use it. The first, if you remember, the first foundation was to worship together. Worship Allah Azza wa Jal, together as a family. Worship Allah Azza wa Jal together. Value your family is foundation number 2. Value in the family. Foundation number 3, to live with mercy. Rahmah, to live with mercy. Foundation number 4, understand that family is a blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal. Your family is ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 5, talking about the pivotal role of the father. We spoke and we had like maybe 2 or 3 sessions just talking about that pivotal role of the father. And then the number 6, the father, the friend. This is another foundation, the father, the friend. And then number 7, talking about the moms. The mothers are the engines for motivation. And then talking about number 8, the language of compassion, a beautiful language that we could use with our children, with our, not only our children, our friends, our loved ones, the language of compassion. Number 9, respect and appreciation. That's foundation number 9. And this is with regard to, using it with your children, with your loved ones. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be talking about foundation number 10. It's called no to hostility. No to al-unf. In Arabic we call it al-unf. La lil-unf. No to hostility. Right? This is some of the foundations that we have spoken about so far. And then we gave a lot of examples from the life of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. The examples that the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam used in terms of dealing with kids, dealing with youth, dealing with his daughters, and dealing with his children, dealing with his grandchildren, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then we'll be talking at some point, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be talking about husbands and wives. We will be talking about the youth and friends, the youth and sexuality. Oh yes. In this session, I will be talking to the youth, this topic that maybe people will try to refrain from, people will try to stay away from, people, especially like shuyukh, they would not like to talk about. I'm going to be talking about it in this session, inshallah ta'ala, not in this session, but in this series, the youth and sexuality, the youth and lust. Yes, we'll be talking about that as well. and we'll be talking still more about the parents and more about the parents and more about those both together, because we spoke about the mom and we spoke about the dad, but I will talk about them together, as parents, inshallah ta'ala. We gave some advice. I gave some advice such as try yourself as a dad. This is advice on proactive advice on how to raise your children. If they were to make a mistake, try, جرب, try, give it a try yourself. And I gave the other advice such as before you give them directions, fix your problem yourself, prove it to them yourself, motivate them, use their talents. If you remember, all these are recorded, so that you may, if you want to go back to them, they're all recorded on my YouTube channel. They're all on the Facebook as well, my page. All the series, 9 lectures, they're all recorded. Alhamdulillah, you can always go back to them. Using encouragements, using praise. This is another method that you could use with your children, with your loved ones. In Arabic, we call it تحفيز. التحفيز. التوجه بالتحفيز. Using encouragements and to as a form of raising your kids, and directing your kids. Open dialogue is another method that you could use, and this method is a wonderful method. Writing a letter to your son, to your daughter, could be another method. So there's quite a few methods. So my brothers and sisters, now I want to move, since this was just like an intro, giving a chance for more people to join as an intro. But now, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to move to session number 10, episode number 10 of Homemade Happiness. And the title of this session is No to Hostility. لا للعنف. No to force. What does that mean? Does that mean I should not beat my child up? I should not beat my children up? No to hostility. No to hostility. I know that sometimes your children may do something so bad that you really want to beat them up. I know exactly how that feels. I know how that feels. They do something really, really, really so bad that you really they deserve a nice beat up, They deserve it. But we need to set some standards. We need to set some standards. And the standard that we need to set today, inshallah ta'ala, that beating is unacceptable. Especially those, some people, some parents, they beat up their children as if they're really punching a boxing, like a bag. A punching bag, like a boxing bag. Or a kickboxing bag. Really alhamdulillah, inshallah, it would not, apply to you. But I know that there's some parents who really beat up their children like you've never seen before. Right? Yes, I was one of them at some point in my life, and my dad, when he used to beat us up with a belt, with bunch of things, whatever he had in front of him, he would just use it, and beat us up, right? But let's set that standard, and the standard today is, my brothers and sisters, beating is unacceptable. Khalas. Beating is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Brother Kiko, Kamal, Brother Kamal, Algerians, Moroccans, sometimes Pakistanis, Indians, I would say more Pakistanis, Arabs in general, but I would say, Algerians, we have hot blood, a little bit of hot blood, a little bit of a hot blood, we like to, use our hands a lot sometimes, So no to hostility, no to force with our loved ones. Beating is unacceptable. Khalas. Why? And I will give you some something in, I say no, but then I will give you other, methods, inshallah ta'ala, to use instead. I'm not gonna just say no and then I don't sort of like talk about this issue and don't mention it and then just let it, No, I will definitely, inshallah ta'ala, give you some alternatives to, beating up your children instead, right? In fact, those who live in the West, you know that it's illegal, huh? Those who live in the West, they know that it's illegal. There was this funny guy who says, he says, his dad used to beat him up. So he came in, now to Canada, and living in Canada, he went to school with some white guys. And the white guy says, "Oh, your dad beat you up? Next time he wants to beat you up, just tell him, I'm gonna call social services. I'm gonna call social services." Really? He says, "Yes. Just tell your dad the next time he wants to beat you up, just call social services or tell him I'm gonna call 911. Right? I'm gonna call 911. So this Indian boy is going back to his dad. He's happy. Then did something right. And then his father's gonna beat him up. He goes, "Ah!" And then the son says, "Dad, if you touch me, I'm gonna call social services." This is what? "I'm gonna call 911. And he says, "You've been hanging with John and Bob and James and Tony and all those guys. That's cool, the white guys. The dad knows. You've been hanging out with John and Bob, huh? You touch me, I'm gonna call social services. I'm gonna call 911. Then the dad said, "Okay, what time is it now?" "It will take 911 15 minutes to get here." Right? If you call them, it's get them about 15 minutes to get here. In that 15 minutes, I will kill the heck out of you. I will beat the heck out of you. And then by the time they come, it's fine. So the dad was a smart guy too, right? He says, "Fine. You want me, you want to call it's going to take them 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, I'll show you what I can do." So the guy, he didn't learn what to say now after that, right? Because his friends told him, the white guys, they said, "If your dad, wants to beat you up, just tell him, threaten him. I'm going to call 911. You're going to call, social services." So, well, you know what? It's going to take them that much, to come home. It's going to take them that long to get to your home. By the time they get to your home, but all I said, my sisters and brothers, again, we need to set the standards, and the standards are: beating is unacceptable. Beating is unacceptable. And here, inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to be sharing with you some alternatives on how to definitely discipline your kids, inshallah ta'ala. We all need disciplining. I have that, I had that seminar called How to Raise Your Parents. Really, I called it How to Raise Your Parents. People are saying, "Really, sir, we need to be raised." I said, how to raise your parents. This is what it's called, how to raise, because sometimes parents, they also need to be raised. They need to be disciplined, So how to raise your parents. So this first standard, brothers and sisters, no, the standard, no to beating, no to hostility, not to using force, for many reasons. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, إن الله رفيق يحب الرفق ويبغض على الرفق ويعطي على الرفق ما لا يعطي على العنف. In Sahih Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forbearer, gentle, rifq, gentle, forbearer, and He loves forbearance and rewards for forbearance, while He does not reward for severity. Rifq, being gentle. The Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasallam says, إن الله رفيق, or إن الرفق. One of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Rafiq. Have you know that? Do you people know that? One of the names of Allah, Allah Azza wa Jal has many beautiful names. This is the 99 names of Allah Azza wa Jal. But Allah has more than 99 names. One of the beautiful names of Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Rafiq. Comes from rifq, forbearance or gentleness. He loves gentleness, and he gives and he rewards for gentleness that which he does not reward for severity and force. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ says in Sahih Muslim, wherever forbearance is added to something, it adorns it. When forbearance is added to something, it adorns it. It makes it beautiful. And whatever it is withdrawn from something, it leaves it defective. Subhanallah. When forbearance is used on something, it beautifies it. And it is removed from something. Yani somebody who's harsh. Wow, you don't want to hang out with that person. A friend who's harsh. A manager who's harsh. A father who's harsh. A mom who's harsh. A son who's rough. Anybody who's harsh. You don't want to, deal with those people. You try to avoid them. But somebody who's rafiq, who's gentle. Even if you don't know them, you like them. You want to associate yourself with them because, subhanAllah, of their qualities, their rifq, their gentleness. Also, this the beating, the force, the use of force. The use of force teaches your kids many bad stuff. It teaches them to be hypocrites. It teaches them to lie. It teaches them to lie. How can beating my children teaches my children to lie? Can you give me an example? Nasima, Silk 1998. You're a mom. I think you're a mom. Can you give me an example of how beating up your children teaches them to lie? How? Huh? I can give you an example. Your child, he breaks something or she breaks something. And then you come and say, who broke this? She says, I did. I did. And then you beat them up. You beat him up or you beat her up. The next time she breaks or he breaks something, and you ask, who broke that? They will not say, I. Yes. The next time, exactly, to avoid the beating, they will say, not me. Or they will say somebody else. They will blame it on somebody else. They may even swear that it was not them. Right? And the fact that you beat them up regularly, they get used to it. They get used to it. Yeah, exactly. They won't feel the beating no more. They get used to it. But I tell you, sisters and brothers, that you can get so much off of your children without using force. You can get so much off of them. You can get so many beautiful gems off of your children without using force. I mean, at some point, yes, I will tell you that punishment, if you want to punish, how to do it. I will share that with you, inshallah ta'ala, maybe today. If you, khalas, after going and exhausting all options, you have no other choice other than punishment, how should you punish your children? We will talk about that as well. Right? After, like I said, exhausting all possibilities and options, you have no other choice other than they really need to be punished. How should you punish them? But before that, there are certain things that you need to know, inshallah ta'ala. So remember foundation number 10. Khadija Muhammad Sheikh, Silk 1998. Nasima, Mariana, what is foundation number 10? What's principle number 10? I mentioned it today. All right. What is that foundation number 10 that I have mentioned? Come on. Facebook right there. Instagram right here. What is foundation number 10? I gave 9 and today I shared with you number 10. Yes, that's true. That's true. Exactly. No to hostility. No to hostility. Exactly. Mariana, Yasmin, Khadija, no to force. Beating up your children is, I said, unacceptable. Unacceptable. Is illegal if you live in the West. It is illegal. Number 2, it is no, it is unacceptable. خلاص لا للعنف. Exactly. بالعربية no to العنف. عنف عنيف. إنسان عنيف in Arabic. عنيف. Very hostile. Right. I want to share with you an ayah in Surah Al-Imran. I want to share with you an ayah from Surah Al-Imran, verse number 159. You know, sometimes, brothers and sisters, that your children, you're punishing them and they don't even know what they've been punished. Sometimes, you know, there's certain parents who punish their children and their children don't even know why they're being punished. You've been harsh, they don't even understand why you've been harsh. You're using force and you don't even know why you're using force. You're yelling and screaming and they don't even know why you're screaming and yelling at them. There's some parents who have anger management problem. There's some parents who do have an anger management problem. You know, they think that, you know, fixing issues through screaming and yelling and beating would actually, you know, sort the children out and they would fix the problems. In fact, as I said, I promise you, you know, they will not solve the problem. You know, that method will never solve the problem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. O Muhammad, لو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. If you were severe and harsh-hearted, O Muhammad, if you were severe and harsh-hearted, they would break away from you. Look at this. This advice given to Prophet Muhammad. This is a divine advice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming to the Quran, telling Prophet Muhammad, oh Muhammad, giving him a nasiha. If you were severe and harsh-hearted with those people that you're giving da'wah to, they will break away from you. You know, when you're screaming, all they hear is noise. They don't hear words. Do you understand? They do not hear words, they only hear noise. Nawal, do you scream at your, well, you're not married. Do you scream at your sisters? Huh? Mariana Muhammad, do you scream? Munisa, do you scream at your siblings? Maybe, I don't know. Do you? Mariana, do you scream at your children? I don't know if you have children. Nasima, do you scream? Sometimes. Sometimes. But do you always scream? Do you yell? Never? Really? Mariana, no? MashaAllah. Are you an angel? Huh? You're an angel? You never scream? You never scream? Munisa, you never scream. Yani, Nasima, okay, Jazakallah khair. So, somebody's not an angel out there. No need. I hate it. Yeah, huh? Well, that's what Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying there, right? Because sometimes you know, they do something and then you feel like, oh, it just comes out from you. You start screaming, right? You start screaming. I mean, the tone goes, and then you realize that maybe you change your tone. But I'm talking about someone who this is constantly, this is how they, you know, they fix problems. So they deal with problems by screaming and yelling. Just so you know that the screaming and yelling, your children or whoever you're screaming to, maybe your husband or your wife, they only hear noise. They don't hear words. You can scream all you want. You scream after the 6th time. You have to repeat yourself. Well, fair enough. Nastabit, fair enough. Fair enough. 6 times, come on. 6 times, you know, I have to repeat myself. So after this 7th time is witr. Yani, look, witr, 7 heavens, 7 earth, 7 tawaf, 7 safa al-marwa, 7. So 7, I give you 7 chances, right? 6, 7, I have to scream. All right, fair enough. Allahu Akbar. I tell you, sisters and brothers, punishing should not be the first, method to be used, because it's not going to solve the problem. I will give you alternatives. You should have 5 to 6 methods, and maybe you can share some with me, inshallah ta'ala. Right? You can share some with me today. I will share with you maybe 5, 6 different methods on how to, inshallah ta'ala, raise your kids, and instead of using unf, instead of using force, maybe you can try these other methods before resorting to punishment. But first, let me say salam to my Sheikh Mus'ad. Ya halab Sheikh Mus'ad. Assalamu alaikum. Let me go say salam to Sheikh Mus'ad. Let me say salam to Sheikhuna Sheikh Mus'ad. I hope it will work with him this time. I really hope it will work with him this time. I hope it will work with him. If it does not work, قدر الله ما شاء فعل. Imam Mus'ad is here. Sheikh Mus'ad is the Qari from Montreal. You remember him? During Eid, he came and he mesmerized us with his amazing recitation. He's just joined. I wanted to say salam to him, but it's okay. I think the Sheikh is maybe busy. We'll see if he can come back later on. I'll give you some alternatives, brothers and sisters. Remember when I said that you should not do, favorism? Favorism, you know what favorism is? You favor one child over the other, and sometimes you say, no, they're all the same. All my children are the same. I treat them the same. But sometimes without even you realizing that you are favoring one over another. Here's an example. You hug one, you don't hug the other. You kiss one, you don't kiss the other. If you kiss one, you have to kiss the other. Even if the other one does not deserve it, kiss him or kiss her as well. You hug one, even if the other one does not need that hug, you hug him as well. This is called favorism. Aywa Sheikhna. أيوة شيخ.
السلام عليكم.
هلا مرحبا يا هلا ويا شغال الآن بشوفك.
أنا شيخ رياض من أجل عشان خاطرك أنت بس ظبطت النت للناس وظبطت النت في البيت.
طيب كذا مش كذا أحسن؟ بنشوفك أحسن وكذا.
يعني جعلك الله جل وعلا سببا لكي نتعرف على بعض الأعطاب والأعطاب اللي
طيب جاء الخير. لما جاء الخير ينفع. اللهم لك الحمد. احنا نقوله في المغرب وقت ما جاي الخير ينفع. وقت ما يجي الآن بعدين كذا وقت ما يجي ينفع.
جعلنا الله وإياك الغيث أينما حل نفع إن شاء الله.
آمين وإياكم شيخنا. احنا الآن شيخنا نتكلم حول موضوع التربية، وقلت لهم في أحد من الأسس، الآن نتكلم عن الأسس التربية، لا للعنف.
نعم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول علموا ولا تعنفوا فإن المعلم خير من المعنف.
أيوة.
الله جل وعلا يقول والذين آمنوا واتبعتهم ذريتهم بإيمان ألحقنا بهم ذريتهم.
أيوة.
أحد رواة التفسير قالوا أن الإيمان هنا اللطف، معناه اللطف والحنان.
صحيح، الله يبارك فيك، أصبت، جزاك الله خير. هذا هو الكلام، وإن الله سبحانه وتعالى رفيق يحب الرفق ويعطي على الرفق ما لا يعطي على العنف سبحانه وتعالى.
والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم حينما نريد أن نتتبع يعني المنهج التربوي الصحيح في تربية أبنائنا ومحبينا وذوينا، فعلينا أن نهجو وأن نخطو خطوات حبيبنا صلى الله عليه وسلم. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما كان فاحشا ولا متفحشا ولا بذيئا ولا قاسيا قط. معاوية بن الحكم السلمي وهو أحد الصحابة الكرام صلى خلف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يوما أحدى الصلوات، فلما صلى عطس فقال الحمد لله ينتظر القوم يقولون له شمتونه يرحمك الله. ولم يكن يدري الصحابي أن قضية الكلام في الصلاة نسخت.
صحيح.
وأعتذر I'm so sorry brother sister inshallah for for my Arabic إن شاء الله الشيخ رياض he will make translation
ما شاء الله. ده الشيخ هو بلبل في العربية، وبلبل في الإنجليزية، وبلبل في الفرنسية. He speaks ما شاء الله fluent Arabic, fluent English and fluent French. 3 لغات ما شاء الله.
يا شيخنا ما شاء الله. No it's like it's not like you يا شيخ رياض ما شاء الله. You are the best ما شاء الله. You are our teacher our شيخ.
استغفر الله العظيم، استغفر الله العظيم. تفضل شيخ.
فسيدنا معاوية بن الحكم السلمي لما عطس ما كان يدري ولا يعرف أن الكلام في الصلاة قد نسخ، بمعنى لم يعد صالحا أو لم يعد جائزا. فإذا به ينظر إلى القوم وهم ينظرون إليه سبحان الله يسكتونه فلا يسكت. فقل ما بالهم يعني ماذا تريدون؟ يعني أنا سبحان الله قلت شيء غريب. وهم يرمقونه بأبصارهم وهو يتكلم وما زالوا يضربون على أفخاذهم يسكتونه. حتى قال لقد صنعت شيئا سيحاسبني عليه النبي ويعاقبني سبحان الله العظيم بعد الصلاة عقاب شديد. فقل فلما انتهت الصلاة انتظرت ردة قوية من النبي، ولكنني وجدت يدا حانية ووجدت صوتا خافتا ووجدت وجها بشوشا يقول لي تعالى من المتكلم في الصلاة؟ قلت أنا يا رسول الله. فقال إنها الصلاة لا يصلح فيها شيء من ذلك، إنما هو الذكر والتسبيح وقراءة القرآن. فقل سيدنا معاوية فما رأيت معلما قط خيرا من رسول الله، فما سبني ولا شتمني ولا قهرني. I'm so
I will translate إن شاء الله. I will translate what the Sheikh is saying.
إن شاء الله Sheikh Riyad he will make translation just يعني I share with him and I leave now. I'm so sorry. It's
لا شيخ you came خلاص. You have to give us ولو 2 minutes كده قراءة كده. Everybody's asking في الفيسبوك. You said شيخ we want to hear you. ولو 1 minute 2 minutes كده وتطلع. السلام عليكم. بس أول عمل translation بعدين لما تخلص إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله. يقول فما سبني ولا شتمني ولا قهرني، ولكنه قال لي أنها الصلاة لا يصلح فيها شيء من ذلك. لذلك منهج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الآن كان منهج اللطف والحنان، منهج الوئام، منهج الحديث بصوت طيب بعدم وجود شيء من العنف أو التزجر. صلى الله عليه وسلم هكذا استطاع أن يصل إلى قلوب أصحابه صلى الله عليه وسلم بهذا المنهج اللي هو منهج الذي نقول عنه إنه منهج الصوت الخافت، الأسلوب الهادي، الكلمات الحانية الراقية التي يكسوها جمالا وبهاء صلى الله عليه وسلم. فاستطاع أن يصل بأسلوبه ذلك إلى كل من كان حوله سبحان الله العظيم عليه الصلاة والسلام. فمن هنا نتعلم منه صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني أننا ينبغي أن نكون حلماء.
حليم. نعم صحيح حلماء. الله أكبر.
في تربية أبنائنا وبناتنا الصوت العالي لا يجدي ولا ينفع ولا يغني شيئا ولا يربي ولا يقوم معوجا ولا يصلح مخطئ أبدا. لذلك صلى الله عليه وسلم ما رأينا حتى مع السيدة عائشة مع نسائه صلى الله عليه وسلم نراه كان حليما، نراه كان عطوفا، نراه كان كريما، نراه كان ذو صوت صلى الله عليه وسلم. فحينما كان تدخل عليه السيدة فاطمة رضي الله عنها والتي منها آل البيت ماذا كان يصنع صلى الله عليه وسلم؟ كان يقوم من مجلسه ويقبلها بين عينيها ويجلسها مكانه صلى الله عليه وسلم. فأفضل من كده من يصنع ذلك مع أبنائي وبناتي اليوم؟ ربما احنا قاعدين في هذه الفترة وهذه المحنة الشديدة والبعض ربما يتضجر، ربما يخرج من البيت، ربما يقول كلاما، ربما يقول إليه ما كنت خلفتكم ولا كنت جئتكم سبحان الله كانت الحياة بدونكم أفضل. أشياء كثيرة جدا 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 مع أن الله قال زينة الحياة. وأترك المجال لفضيلة الشيخ رياض.
الله يجزاه خير. بس قبل ما تروح شيخنا ولو تفتح يعني تنغمنا ولو اي شيء ان شاء الله تعالى، اي شيء من عندكم ان شاء الله تعالى. الاخوان بيطلبون ويقولوا يبغوا يسمعون صوت الشيخ، اذا كان يعني تتحفنا بشيء الله يفتح عليك.
الله يستر. اعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الأبرار لفي نعيم على الأرائك
شاء الله.
على الأرائك ينظرون تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم
الله الله الله.
يسقون من رحيق مختوم ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون ومزاج من تسنيم عينا يشرب بها المقربون صدق الله العظيم.
فتح الله عليك يا شيخنا، ما شاء الله عليك، ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله، ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله. أتحفتنا، الله يا ربي يفتح عليك باب الخير في الدنيا والآخرة إن شاء الله تعالى.
آمين حبيبي يا شيخنا.
كما قال أوتيت مزمار من مزامير داود، ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله، ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله، ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله. الله يحفظك
جزاكم الله عنا خير.
بارك الله فيك، حياك الله، فما الله، حياك الله، عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. There you go. That was Sheikh Mus'ad Beltaghi from Montreal. He joined us, Jazakallah khair. So he mentioned as something that we've been talking about throughout, alhamdulillah, the series, and he gave an example of this Sahabi, this little boy who was praying behind the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. And then as they were praying in the masjid, he started talking. He did not know, because initially the people were talking during the salah, but he did not know that it was abrogated, that they no longer can talk, you no longer can talk during the salah. And then he started asking questions, and people are praying, and then he's looking at them. He says, why are you not replying back to me? Why are you not, talking back? What did I say? What did I? And and he's talking during the salah. People are praying, and he's like asking questions, and then he realized, oh boy, maybe I shouldn't be talking. And then if after the salah, the Prophet will be so mad at me, he will yell at me, he will tell me off, he would do this, he would do that, So he was really scared. So after the salah, he was really scared and terrified. And then the Prophet asked, who's the boy who was talking? And then he came and said, Ya Rasulullah. And then the Prophet Muhammad nicely, he says, he did not scream, he did not yell, he did not punch or beat me up or anything. He used very beautiful voice, he used very tone, like a low tone with me. And he says, this salah, it is meant for tasbih, takbir, and nothing else. Once in the salah, you cannot, you shouldn't be talking. That's how he, corrected that mistake, alayhi salatu. And we mentioned stories like that before, if you remember. I mentioned many stories, of examples of how the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu, dealt with certain situations. In fact, I want to share with you another story, and this comes under these methods that I'm going to be giving you. Method number one is, can you forgive? Forgive. Before you punish, try to forgive. So this is number one. Al-afu, forgive. وَالْقَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Those who repress anger. Your child did something really bad. Your teenager son, your adult son, daughter, right? Did something really bad that you felt like they have broken all types of rules and you need to punish them or somehow, right? So those who repress anger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 134. Those who repress anger and those who pardon. Those who pardon. Number one, you pardon. Let me give you an example. An example was in Fath Makkah. During Fath Makkah, came a man as the Prophet Muhammad forgave Quraysh, forgave them. Those are his own, relatives, people that, from Quraysh who kicked him out when he came back. He could have taken his revenge. Yet, ﷺ, he decided to forgive them. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Came a man by the name of Fudala. A man by the name of Fudala. بخنجر يوم فتح مكة. بعدما عفى الرسول. After the Prophet forgave and everything, this man came with a knife. He wanted to kill Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he's behind the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He's hiding his knife. The Prophet turned to him. He saw him. He says, بما فضالة بما تحدثك نفسك. What is your nafs? What is your soul telling you to do, O Fudala? Fudala says, I'm just making dhikr of Allah. But who is he talking to? He's talking to Prophet Muhammad. This is not a regular man. This is not just a man. This is a prophet. He gets revelations. The Prophet knew. Fudala, بما تحدثك نفسك. What is your nafs telling you to do? He says, I'm just making dhikr of Allah. Then Fudala said, this is Fudala, he's narrating. He says, then the Prophet, he smiled at me. ابتسم. He smiled at me. وقال اتق الله يا فضالة. O Fudala, fear Allah. He said, O Fudala, fear Allah. And he started touching my chest. And then he's, wiping on my chest and caressing it. And he says, O Fudala, ittaqillah. Ittaqillah, fear Allah. And he's doing this to him. Fudala said, كان أبغض الناس إلي. كان أبغض أهل الأرض إلى قلبي. ثم صار أحب أهل الأرض إلى قلبي. Fudala, he said that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the most hated man on earth in my heart. I hated him the most on earth. And after that, I loved him the most on earth. Yani on earth there was nobody else I loved the most other than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad knew that this man had a knife and he wanted to kill him. But he smiled and he started, wiping on his chest sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is option number one. Forgive. Option number two. Share your feelings. This is, I'm talking about, before using punishment. These are methods to be used before using punishment. I said punishment is the very last resort, right? Your kid did something really terrible and they deserve to be punished. What are some of the preliminaries actions? These are some of the preliminaries actions that you could use. Number one, forgive. Wa'fu. Number two, use your feelings and share your feelings. You know what does this do to your children, sharing your feelings with them? Something like, I'm really sad. I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed not at you, my son or my daughter. I'm disappointed at me. Me, the dad, me, the mom. I'm disappointed at myself because I did not know how to raise you. I failed. I'm upset at myself, not at you, because I failed as a dad. I failed as a mom. And you show that you're really sad, you're really disappointed. Share your feelings. I'm not going to talk about his problem and what he did or what she did. I'm going to talk about me and my feelings. This is an option you could use that. I'm just going to focus on how sad I am, how disappointed I am, how upset I am, not at him or her, but at myself, at yourself. That actually, it just causes them so much pain from inside. They may not show it to you. They will go to their room and they will think about it. I made my mom sad. I made my dad disappointed. This is number two. You know what Anas radiallahu anhu, he used to work at the house of the Prophet. He was 10 years old. And when you're 10 years old, you could make mistakes. Prophet Muhammad one day, he gave him some money. He says, go and, buy this, buy some, he needed some, something, from the market. Go and get it for me. Anas, he got late. Prophet Muhammad went out into the streets of Medina. And then he saw him playing. He saw Anas playing with kids. you send your kid to run a errand, and then you see your kids playing outside, and then you needed you needed that thing that you sent him to buy you. You needed it, but he just forgot about it and he went to play. He's a 10-year-old kid, for God's sake. He's not an adult. He's 10-year-old. He forgot. He was playing with kids. Did the Prophet get angry? Did he start beating him up and slapping? And he went to him. He stood behind him, and then Anas looked at him. Anas radiallahu anhu warda. He looked and found Prophet Muhammad behind him. He says, Anas, alam ursiluk, didn't I send you to take care of so and so and such? He says, oh yes, Ya Rasulullah. I'm going right now. I'm going right now. Anas said, Anas narrates the story when he became old. He narrates it. He says, I worked with, and I lived with Prophet Muhammad, for 10 years, I've never heard him yelling or scolding me. He never scolded me. 10 years old. 10 years old, he could be naughty. He says, Prophet Muhammad never scolded me or told me, why didn't you do so and so? Why didn't you? That's number 2. Number 3, method number 3, something that you could use instead of punishment. Number 3, motivate them. Motivate your kids. Motivate them with what? With money? Maybe, sometimes. Why not? Motivate them with what? With initiatives? Incentives? Yes, why not? Why not? Ibn Sirin, very well-known pious predecessor from the past, that very well-known, dream translation book by Ibn Sirin, very well-known in dream interpretations. Is Ibn Sirin. He's from the pious predecessors. Ibn Sirin, he used to give his child 1 dirham whenever he memorizes an ayah from the Quran. Whenever he memorizes like a surah from the Quran, he gives him 1 dirham. Motivate them. Motivate your children. If you were to memorize this, if you were to do this, I will give you, but don't make it a habit every time you have to, you have to give me so I can do this for you. Don't make it a habit. But from time to time, you can motivate them with, inshallah, this summer, I will get you into this youth camp. You wanted to go to that youth camp? I will, inshallah ta'ala, enroll you into the youth camp, right? Motivate them. You want that halal party, inshallah ta'ala? We will have that halal party. Once you're done with your hifz, we will have that halal party, inshallah ta'ala. Once you're done with your program, then inshallah ta'ala, once you get that, inshallah ta'ala, I will get this for you, inshallah. You want to buy that? I will, but you get this, inshallah. Motivate them. Use some sort of incentives to motivate your children. That's method number 3. Method number 4, fix the problem yourself. Or fix the problem together. Fix the problem together. He broke something, right? And he does not know how to fix it, and he was not supposed to do so, right? He just made a mistake, or he was not paying attention, he was careless, he broke it, or he, whatever. Go fix the problem together. Don't just tell him why. No, where was your brain? Where was your mind? Where was your head? Were you always careless? Were you always heedless? Fix the problem together. That's method number 4. Method number 5, it's called parenting or bonding, or parents bonding. What does that mean, parents bonding? When was the last time you and your child, you and your daughter, I'm talking about before Corona, right? Before the lockdown. The last time you went on a bonding with your son, with your daughter, on maybe going out for a coffee or tea or juice, or just on a walk. Some time together, just bonding together, on outing together with your son, and then you talk with your daughter, talk out. Prophet Muhammad used to do it. He used to do it with Abu Hurairah. He did it with Anas. He did it with Mu'ad. He did it with Abdullah ibn Abbas. They took them out into the outskirts, and then on the way, as they're walking out, and then he would tell them some advice. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When was the last time you bonded with your child? You dated your child. Yeah, dating. Every evening does not mean I'm bonding with them here at home. We're bonding together. No, bonding means you bond outside. Yes, we bonded together. Together in front of the TV. We bonded in front of the TV. No, that does not. No. I'm not talking about that bond in front of the TV or in front of this or that on home. I'm talking about an outing outside with your children. to teach them something, to give them an advice, but that advice outside, right? So these are some of the methods that you could use. But if you decide that, say, Sheikh, I've done everything, and they need to be punished. They need to be punished. I will tell you maybe 5 action items to do before you punish your children. Because you said, I've used everything. I've used bonding, I've used forgiving, I've used correcting the mistakes together, I've used motivating, I've used all these methods. Sheikh, was something you thought of and something you didn't mention. I've used so many things. You name it, I did it, right? I've used everything, but this that they have done, they're really required to be punished. They have to be punished. So if you are adamant on punishing them, here are maybe 5 or 6 points to do before you punish them. Write them down. Write them down. Are you taking notes, sisters and brothers? Those of you on Instagram right here. Those of you on Facebook, I'm going to share with you some 5 or 6 pointers to do, right? Before you punish them. Because khalas, you said, I'm going to punish them. Okay, you want to punish them, right? Before you punish them, I'm going to share with you 5 or 6 pointers to do right before you punish them. You're going to punish them. Khalas, we agreed, you're going to punish them. But here are 5 or 6 pointers. Do them before you punish them. Right? Are you guys ready? Writing them down? Writing them down? Definitely Cliffy, huh? Definitely Cliffy. Are you guys ready? You guys are not ready. You're not even taking notes. Are you taking notes? I'm going to give you something like gold now. Gold, like literally gold. Literally gold. Yasmin? Huh? Medina Muhammad? All right. Layla, طيب, ready? Naz, Thabit? All right. Well, I guess the only one who smelled it was Umair. Umair smelled it. It is definitely a cliffhanger for tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. For tomorrow, make sure you come, and tomorrow it will be again about parenting, both, inshallah ta'ala. Bring your children tomorrow. They've got to come and listen to this, inshallah ta'ala, because tomorrow's session will be about parents together. We spoke about children, we spoke about parents, we spoke about moms, we spoke about dads. Now we're going to speak about the parents together, inshallah ta'ala. It is a cliffhanger. We will meet you tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 11 o'clock p.m. UK time for episode number 11 of Homemade Happiness. It was great seeing you all. It was great being back again. Jazakumullah khair, brothers and sisters. Instagram will go off in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Facebook, I will see you tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.